Hey, thank you for finding me today. How to ask someone to speak at your event. Maybe you're wondering, how do I ask a great speaker to come when I'm not sure what to say? Or how do I even get them to be interested in that thing that I'm putting together? Well, if you've found me today, you're in search of either a celebrity because you want them to speak at your event, you don't know how to ask, or you have a very limited budget for your event and you're not quite sure how to frame that to ask a speaker to come. If I've come close, I hope that you'll enjoy this video, because my name's Jason Hewlett. I'm a Hall of Fame keynote speaker, award-winning Las Vegas entertainer. Let's dive right in. Okay, so whether you're looking for this celebrity speaker or you're looking for somebody and you don't have that big of a budget, both are okay. We're just going to try to touch on them as we go here throughout this video. But the first way to get a speaker interested right away, it's kind of funny actually. All you have to say is, I have an unlimited budget, they'll be there. The other thing you could say is, hey, we want you to talk about anything you want, and you can just come to a bunch of people that are ready to learn, be your fans, take your pictures, share on social media. They want so badly to learn from you, to listen to you. We'll change our schedule for you. We'll do whatever you want. If you want a speaker to come to your event and you say those things, I guarantee you pretty much anyone on earth will do it. So I'm just being funny there, right? I mean, really, that's the dream of every speaker. In fact, when I am running my business, if I were ever to get a request that said, we have unlimited budget, we'll work around your schedule, I'd be like, dream client. Okay, that's not always gonna happen. And that's okay, you don't need to be there. And I don't recommend it really either, regardless of where you're at with your budget or your schedule. What I would say is if you're trying to book a really great speaker, first you need to visit their website. Now that may sound obvious, but a lot of people don't do that first. They'll like Google the name of the person and then they'll click one of those links on the top. And now here's the thing about that. I would recommend you go first to the speaker's website, because the speaker has actively put that site together for you. They want you to reach out to them as personally and as directly as possible. That gives them more flexibility, that gives you a greater opportunity to get to know them. And so when it comes to booking a speaker, the first thing you should do, go to their website. Their name, if it's me, it's jasonhewlett.com. And I want you to look through everything on that site if I'm having you book me. And then you can reach out through the contact form or any other way that they want you to. And here's the thing about that. When you actually reach out to somebody through their website, so cool. Because the speaker will then get the form, and most likely it's the actual speaker who gets it. Yeah, believe it or not. Even if they have management, they like to receive those first and then disperse because they want to know about you. Yeah, truth. Also, they have social media. They have probably a blog or a newsletter. They have all those channels, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. They want you to join those. I'd recommend you go do that. Follow them along. See about their life. Actually, if you go to my website, you'll see that my phone number, my actual cell phone number, is on my homepage. That's how much I want to hear from you if I'm a speaker. I give you the chance to call me or text me. My email's on there. I give you every reason to reach out to me, and I want to be accessible. A majority of the speakers that are worth pursuing are going to be that way. And then what you want to do in the form, if you're going to fill that out or even just send a text or email, just give as much information about the audience as you can. Tell the speaker about your event, why it's important, who you've maybe had in the past. Give some details, some ideas, and then that speaker will be so interested to be there. I can't even tell you. But make sure you give them the dates, the location, and if you're willing to say, hey, this is our budget, that's even cooler. The next thing you can do is a Google search on the speaker's name. If you do a Google search though, like I said at the very beginning, that's going to bring up all kinds of options, quite possibly before the speaker's actual website. And that's okay, but what happens usually in those first few listings is there will be other places that they're listed. In fact, it could be articles they've written or places they've been highlighted. And then there's something called a speaker's bureau. Now, a speaker's bureau is really, really awesome. And they're very helpful for speakers and for you as a booker, because you're trying to figure out between all the speakers you're looking at, which person is best. So when you click on the link of a speaker's bureau, if you've never dealt with a bureau before, the bureau is an expert at understanding who would be the right fit for your event. If you go after them and say, hey, we want Jason Hewlett to come speak at our event, then that speaker's bureau will have me on their roster or know how to get a hold of me and say, this client's interested in you. Then you'll book through the bureau. So that's why it's different than booking directly with the speaker. Booking through the bureau is very interesting and helpful because the process and the system is so clean. Those speakers' bureaus have done it for years. They know exactly what they're doing. Invoicing, travel, materials for the speaker, everything will be so transactionally good that you'll be like, oh, I want to use a bureau every time rather than going directly to the speakers, depending on the experience you've had with booking speakers. And the thing is if the speaker that you're requesting isn't available and you can't get that guy that you want, well, then they'll find the gal that you need. That's what's so cool about a bureau. They have so many options of other people that can lead you to that will be so helpful. And you'll be like, oh, thank goodness I went through this bureau. They had all the great ideas of speakers we never would have known about. And what's cool about a speaker's bureau as well, once you've spoken and booked with them, the next thing you know, they're going to be able to fill in other slots for you for your other agendas and other events in the future. A lot of companies that reach out to a speaker's bureau, once they've booked with the bureau, they never book anywhere else again. They always book with that bureau. They have a relationship, they trust their judgment, and the bureaus only work with the top speakers. And so that's a good win-win. And so let's say you reach out to the speaker directly, you don't go through the bureau, you want to talk to the speaker as quickly as you can. You want to find out more about them, about their life, their schedule, and they want to find out about you. Here's the other thing, if you do book through the bureau is going to set up an opportunity for you to meet that speaker on the phone, have a conference call. So there are ways to meet and talk with the speaker as soon as possible. You want to do that right away. Here's another roundabout way to reach out to somebody that you want to have speak at your event. You could reach out on social media. Now, a majority of speakers in my level, where I make a good living at this, I'm still managing my own social media. So I check my direct messages. I look at the comments. There are some speakers in that higher range like Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, no relation, Gary Vee, Scott Stratton, those types that are just really at another level. And so they're probably having someone else look at their DMs. But I get messages directly. And if I got it from an event planner saying, we want you here at this time, I'm like, let's go for it. And then it's a direct connection with the speaker and the event planner, you. So that's special for everybody. I'd also recommend that you reach out as a fan. Become a fan. Buy their book. Sign up for their YouTube channel. I mean, hey, you could subscribe here and then we'll be closer to doing the gig, right? I just want you to think about how you can be a fan and show that you're interested in the work of the speaker. Then they'll be that much more interested in being at your event if they say, oh, I know that she's already following me. I know that she already bought my book. I know that she's a subscriber to my newsletter. I see the comments she's left. Those types of things have a lot of leverage for every single speaker that's like, should I do this event or not? If we're already friends, way more likely to happen. So before I go on and tell you what not to do, because I've given you a lot of good ideas, I hope. So I want you to go into the comments and I want you to type in who you are a fan of already. What do you like about them? And I would love to know. And you know, we've already just talked about becoming a fan of the speaker. So who are some of your favorites? And I'd love to see if I know them too. So let's engage there. Now let's get into what you should not do. Okay, so if you're reaching out to ask someone to speak at your event, here's what not to do. Do not reach out and tell them, this will be good exposure. That is like a huge insult to a speaker, no matter their level. I'm just telling you. If you think your audience is so awesome, then you should have way more money. And a lot of speaker, requests come in that say, we have no budget, we need you here for exposure. Okay, I understand that your audience is really great, and I understand that they're wonderful people, but I'm a speaker who needs to make money. And so please don't dangle the fruit of exposure in front of me. You see, there's two definitions of exposure. There's exposure, which is like the good kind of exposure where I'm being exposed to the right people to further my career. That's really great. But then there's too much exposure to the sun and you don't have enough water and you die of starvation. That's how a speaker feels when they're in front of an audience that's there for exposure. So if you can get me in front of an audience that you can guarantee me will get more gigs, okay, then let's talk. But a majority of the time, because they're important to you, they're not important to me in terms of exposure to them. And so don't lead with that ever, 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 please, I beg you. Okay, do not ever do this either. Don't ever lead with, we're a charity and so you should do this for us. Ooh, that hurts. Hey, let me ask you this. I have a nonprofit. Would you come work for me for free? No, you wouldn't. Don't ask a speaker to do that either. Now, I'm not saying that they're not going to, possibly if they love what you do, but don't come at them and say, you should do this because we are a nonprofit. No, 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 no. Tell them a story. Tell them why it's important. Tell them why you love them. Tell them why you're a fan. Tell them how this could, be a beneficial win-win because you guys have something in common. You make it up. Please don't lead with, you should do this because we're a nonprofit. Because if they want to donate to you, then they will. Here's another one that really gets us speakers is that if somebody wants us to speak at an event, but they haven't reached out yet, they still put us on the materials first. I'm not joking. I found myself on the front page of a website that I had never even heard of that said I was coming to speak at an event. That's a real hard conversation when I had to reach out and say, you can't have me on here, we're not contracted. And they said, we figured if we put your name out there and we promoted it, that you would feel that you should be there. I'm not joking. That's insane and that is bad business. Don't do it. Okay, so I'm gonna give you some tips and I might get in big trouble from my speaker buddies because of this, but I think it's important. If you have a limited budget, this is how you ask someone to come speak at your event. You ready? Here we go. Number one, compliments. Yeah, they go a long way. And speakers like compliments. They like it when you comment on their blog. They like it when you join their YouTube channel. They like it when you share their materials. I've done events for people because they bought my book, they read it and loved it, they reviewed it on Amazon, they made a video about it, and then they shared it with their friends. That brought me to a gig. Compliments go a long way. I don't know if that's still gonna work with me the next time, but it just depends on the way that the person goes about it. There's another thing that you could do is you could reach out with these compliments and write a nice email or send a letter. I've received these as well, which is very interesting. They'll tell me how much of a fan they are. They've done so much homework. They've read my blogs. They've watched my videos. They think I'm awesome. I love that. And then they'll tell their story and how we could help each other. It's not necessarily a hard ask. It's not like you need to come do our event. It's more like, we would love to have you someday if ever there's a possibility. And a lot of the time, I'll make the time for them. The other way you could do it is if you have a limited budget is to offer to do something for trade. So for example, if I charge $25,000 for my keynote and you only have $5,000, there's a long, big gap there. And so sometimes we'll have to work something out. For example, our orthodontist reached out and said, we'd love to have you come do a training, but we don't have as much money as you get for your presentation. I said, well, I would so much be thrilled if you'd do some of the work in trade for that. They said, you'd do that? I said, well, yeah, let's do it. And so I was willing to do a trade for them and they were thrilled to be able to do the work for me, something of value for me, something of value for them. You could also help them block book other events in the area. If you have a real limited budget, you could say, hey, look, I don't have as much money as you need, but I'm gonna try to get you a couple schools and I have another corporation, I have an association you could come speak to all at the same time while you're in the area. Would you be willing to come and do a couple of events at the same time? Every speaker would love to have that kind of opportunity. The other one, if you have a limited budget, is to just give them referrals to other opportunities. So all you need to say is, hey, we don't have that much money, but here's what I do have. I have contacts that can help you, and I'm willing to do an email introduction, CC you as a speaker to my friend, and it's going to lead to other events and opportunities. And so I've had people do that where they have actually either gotten me on the phone, conference call, email, CC. It was so incredible because they led me to events before I even did theirs. Then I'm willing to go do something for a discount because they opened up an opportunity where I got paid more elsewhere. And the final piece of advice, if you have a limited budget, there was a group that reached out to me years ago, charity group, no money. They said, all we could do is have you come to Orlando and we'll pay for it. I said, okay, I'm listening. They said, and we'd like you to bring your whole family and we're going to treat you to Disney World. Here's what happened. They had passes because they're a charity to get people into Disney World that they could use for sponsors and other things. Oh man, my family had the trip of a lifetime because of a trade. I did the event for free because they helped us get something we wouldn't have paid for. That was an amazing trade for me and something of huge value for my family we still talk about it. So whether you're asking a celebrity to come, whether you have a limited budget, whether you just want to figure out how to make this work, I hope that this has been helpful for you today. And I appreciate you watching this today, and I'll tell you, I just gave you a lot of information about how to massage the opportunity with a speaker. If you'd like to book me as well, jasonhewlett.com. Even if you subscribe here and do a comment, I will see it, I will reply. Let's be in touch. I'd love to come to your event.